everybody, and welcome along to Sunday. Triple dose of races at America's National Park of Speed. And we'll start off this fabulous Sunday with the Ford Mustang Challenge, powered by Ford Performance, built Ford proud. And hello to Marty Keck, to Reagan, to Harry, to Jackson. And they've got the sign up there on the hillside. Brilliant stuff at the start of the show. Come on, hold it up again, guys. That's brilliant. I can see that down there. Well done for the IMSA supporters and the IMSA radio supporters. Looks fantastic. We're just up the road from Milwaukee, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, in a beautiful part of the world. Been racing in these areas from this area and this track since 1955. A fast track and the longest track that we have on the IMSA schedule. A brilliant place to come and race. A little bit of everything for everybody. Great to see Reagan, Harry and Jackson there. That came from a chance meeting with their dad, Detective Marty Keck, and his father at Daytona a few years ago. The next generation of sports car fans is in good hands. Let's take a look back, as this is race 2, to what happened in our opening race of the weekend. It was Jeremy Fletcher who got the whole shot from pole position, and then Sam Paley managed to tough it out by turn 3. He was in the lead in the number 26 car. Tom Tate with a big incident on the kink and the multicolours number 8 car, which ultimately led to his retirement down at Canada corner. And then a huge hit with the number 9 Eklund car and Rod Randall as well, with both of those cars retiring on the spot. DJ Randall, I apologise there. A spin for the other Randall car, the number 5 car, Rod Randall, and they didn't have a great day. Who did was the fact that the number 48 of Zachary Lee won the Dark Horse category behind the safety car, and Sam Paley won overall. Shay Adam is with me in the booth. Hello, Shay. And a little bit of a change from yesterday, because we did lose one of the podium sitters in post-race technical inspection.
Hello, John. Yes, we did. Jeremy Fletcher, originally crossing the line in second place, was thrown out of the results. More importantly, had his fastest lap from the race taken away, which was applicable for a better starting spot for today's race. But it does mean that Jeremy Fletcher will be starting 11th in the Dark Horse category, 17th overall, so quite a bit further down the grid. Our pole sitter for today's race is yesterday's race winner. It is Southern Paley Motorsports' Sam Paley, and they have a technical alliance starting this weekend with McCumbee Mackler Racing. Sam Paley has a long history with that team, and yesterday's race, John, was Sam's first ever win for them.
And a couple of penalties that we have had already assessed before we even get to the green, and one of them does include Jeremy Fletcher. Both Jeremy Fletcher in the 22 and Scott Thompson in the 30 didn't attend the drivers' meeting. Now, the stewards race control don't take kindly to that, and they have been given a 10-second penalty post-race. That will be added on to wherever they finish. Just time to take a look at the sharp end of the field as the cars are coming through to Canada corner. Got 22 cars starting. Scott Thompson, John Strauss on row 11, Tommy McLean and Kel Kearns on 10, Mitch Marvosh, Jeremy Fletcher on the next row, then Tom Tate, Nick Smithers, Christian Bach, Paolo Salvatore, Wesley Slimp, Mike Stillwagon, and into the top 10, Alex Bashura, Marcus Ventos, Gabe Tesh, Zach Lee on pole position for Legends, Brandon Godovich, Max Opalski on row 3, Reed Sweeney and Robert Noaker on row 2, and on the front row for Robert Noaker Racing, Tyler the Tiger Maxon on the outside of the front row, and Sam Paley. And a problem for the LAP Motorsports car of Scott Thompson, the number 30. That car is not coming to the green flag. Everyone else is. 45 minutes on the clock. We are ready to go. Racing, the green flag is in the air, and it's Tyler Maxson who tries to pull across, can't make it, immediately drops in behind Sam Paley in the Southern Paley Motorsports Ford Mustang. He comes back to the middle of the road to try and get the first corner sorted round the outside. That was a very audacious move from one of the cars that was further back, and that looks to me like that was the 31 of Reed Sweeney. Robert Noaker racing in the black and gold car as they were coming. He was coming round the outside, but Sam Paley it is that leads it. It's a clean start, other than that problem for Scott Thompson in the light green coloured car, and it is Reed Sweeney who's muscled his way through into second place. There's still no movement from the Thompson car. The LAP machine stationary on the circuit, and that is down at turn 13. Meantime, at the front of the field, I think there's been a lead change. Shay Adam.
There has. Alex Bashura now leads the Dark Horse Legends class. That's the first time all weekend that someone else besides Zach Lee has taken control of that category. He had a fantastic start to make up several positions and jump Zach Lee as now we go to a full course caution because Scott Thompson is still stationary at turn 13 and the car's getting a little bit too close to race control, deciding that we need to calm it down for just a second to go recover that number 30 machine. And thank you to Luis Pericarpi. I got the background on the car. Scott Thompson had a 1965 Mustang GT Coupe in Twilight Turquoise. So write that color down, John. That's the official name of it. It was a 3-speed manual V8, lap belts, but no airbags. So we're talking a good old classic Mustang. Scott went on to get 7 speeding tickets in that car. He fought and beat many of them in court, which led to him developing a, let's say, penchant for being good with the law, i.e. he created his career that way. So for Scott, this is very much disappointment not getting to the green flag, but hopefully the safety team can give him a little bit of help and get that Mustang fired up and going.
Well, as somebody who has a night blue colour on one of my cars, Nacht Blue, I love Twilight Turquoise. That is fantastic. What a great story. Shay had been digging around in the Mustang Challenge paddock over the last couple of days. Sam Paley will continue to lead then as we've neutralised the race halfway around lap number 1. Track services already raring to go and to ensure that we get back to green as quickly as possible. Huge crowd on hand, as it has been, in fact, since Thursday, and it's gradually been building. There's even more people turned up yesterday and today. The camping sites were absolutely packed. Apologise to the usual campers that we pop round and see on either a Friday or a Saturday night for not being able to get to see you this year, but we're with you in spirit and at least able to talk to you on the PA. What a fabulous weekend we've had so far. Thank you all who have turned out to have what is undoubtedly one of the best party weekends that we can have in IMSA, and all the local charities as well who are running the concessions around Elkhart Lake and in Road America, in fact. Probably those of you further afield watching and listening in don't realise this, but the local Lions clubs and various other of the local charities run the food and drink stalls around the circuit. In point of fact, it's damn fine cuisine. Some of the best you'll find at any racetrack anywhere in the world. And for those of you at the track, please do support them, because it's all going to good local causes. And the inward investment, if you will, from you the race patrons, is being spread around the local community. Now the lights are out on the Dark Horse safety car. I was fortunate enough to have not a drive, but a ride in a Mustang Dark Horse earlier on this year at the end of one of our broadcast days at Mount Panorama Bathurst in
Rough
New
life.
South Wales. Rough life, says shit, Adam. It was an experience. I've got to tell you now that I've driven around and been driven around that circuit many times in a variety of different road and race going cars. I've driven a Aussie V8 around there myself, and for a road car, the amount of the viciousness of the acceleration and the amount of lateral G that the street going Mustang Dark Horse, which by the way is available with the steering wheel on the correct side, the side that Henry Ford originally put the steering wheel on his Model T, i.e. the right hand side, it is incredible. It sounds brilliant with that Coyote 5-litre motor, and my goodness, what a piece of equipment. It's on the price list, you can buy it, and that is the basis of these race cars here today and throughout the rest of the season, as actually this race marks our move into the second half of this year's season, and we can't wait for next year. We've already got the we already have the schedule for next year. If we get a moment, we'll talk about that before the end of this race. But with 38.5 minutes to go, we're going back to green, and Sam Paley will crest the rise with Reid Sweeney behind him in the black and gold car. How Hertz 350 is that one, if you know your Mustang history? So it's Paley, Sweeney, Brandon Godovich in the red, white and black car into third, just ahead of Robert Noaker in fourth position. As they go under the Arians sign and down towards turn 3. Everybody starting line astern there, single file, looking down to the Legends category. Alex Matura in that number 33, sitting in 10th. That's the olive green car. Keep an eye for that one. It's probably easy to spot the car behind it because that's the number 48, the Silver Bullet, the all chrome of McCumbee McAlean Racing's Zach Lee. So a decent restart, Shay, and we're back underway again.
And Jeremy Fletcher continuing his move up through the field. Remember, starting in the 11th place. Well, now he's up to 9th in class and 9th overall, just having gotten around, Gabe Tetch with a not great restart. Dropped back from 7th to now 9th off that restart. There was some side-to-side contact between the two cars and a little bit of tire smoke. The next car that Jeremy Fletcher will have to get around is Max Zapalski, a driver he knows very well from racing against him in another series. Now, these cars, completely different way of driving, and we've seen that demonstrated as people have had to learn how to drive the Ford Mustang. Those who have been doing it well have basically all been under the Robert Noaker Racing banner, because it is Tyler the Tiger Maxson leading the championship. Right now he is 5th on the racetrack, but he has a 40-point advantage over Robert Noaker, and Robert Noaker is the car ahead of Tyler the Tiger, so he's not losing any championship ground, not really a lot as it runs right now.
Yeah, a reminder that we have a number of super teams. Robert Noaker Racing, MTK McCumbee McAlean Racing, all with multiple entries. But of course the drivers, there's no team orders here. The drivers are racing for their own championship positions and for the end of season large cups, the big trophies, the VLTs, the very large trophies. As Sam Paley goes through and takes the fastest lap of the race with a 2:22.6, and he's eked out about half a second to the black and gold cars. They go through turn number 2. Reid Sweeney, Godovich, Noaker, and Tyler Maxson. Mike Stillwagon putting in the fastest lap in DHL, delivering a 2:24.5 as into the pit lane. Paolo Salvatore. Salvatore had a really good run yesterday, but interestingly, they had some issues with that car, I think on the left-hand side, and that's where they're looking again on the white and blue number 84, the Torre Racing car, then dropping to the back of the field. Scott Thompson, by the way, was recovered to the back of the paddock, but has not yet come back out onto the track after that problem as we were coming to the green flag some 10 minutes ago. In DHL, in Dark Horse Legends, and that's all about the age of the driver. It's nothing to do with the car. The cars are identical. Ventura from Zach Lee, from Mike Stillwagon, then a couple of cars between the top three and Nick Smither. Nick Smither Racing, the 58 car, in 4th position. To the carousel then, and Sam Paley at the moment controlling things, but it is by no means, Shea Adam, a big lead. And in the Legends class, Bashura has got his door mirrors full of a very shiny second place car, the number 48.
I am loving this battle between these two gentlemen, and I mean that in the finest sense, because both men are as kind as could be. Alex Bashura running for Spark Performance, Zach Lee representing MMR. Zach has gotten almost a perfect season. All the race wins have come his way except for the first one of the year in which he had a DNF. Every other race, Zach Lee has been the guy we've been talking about. Alex Bashura has been the guy we should be talking about, but has had the bad luck. 2 second place finishes for Alex Bashura. Before yesterday, he added another one to that as the number 14 of Jack Strauss of Capaldi Racing pulling off the racetrack. That is at the exit of the carousel, and he's actually made it far enough off that he's with the safety team, so very heads up. Yeah. That's a driver who paid attention in the drivers meeting earlier on.
There is an extra chicane there that they sometimes use on the short circuit or for motorcycle racing. It's paved, and that is where we have one of our IMSA Chevy safety trucks, and they sit there just to ensure that they have direct access to the circuit without being in harm's way. So that is, as Shay says, very heads up driving indeed from the number 14 Capaldi Racing driver John Strauss. This is all going on absolutely unknown to Sam Paley, Reed Sweeney, and then Godovich, Brandon Godovich in third, side by side, further back, and this is the battle for the Legends. Down towards turn 5, Zach Lee tries to come the long way around. He's going to try the over and under, and oh, but Bashura's being suckered into it, goes too long, outbrakes himself. That's super driving by Zachary Lee, who did exactly what he needed to do. He sent a message to the 33 ahead of him, and Alex Bashura bought the dummy and went too long. He was on the wrong line. He couldn't take as much speed through turn 5. And then beautiful bit of driving by Zachary Lee, checked himself up, made the apex of the left-hander and drove through. Looks very easy, but you've got to plan that ahead and you've got to execute it perfectly and not try to go too deep on your own braking. Very dry on the outskirts of the track here, so anybody dropping a Michelin tyre off is going to make that big cloud of dust. So it's Sam Paley leading by 0.4 of a second. Beautiful overtake there, Shea, by Zach Lee on Alex Bashura.
Perfect maneuver by Zachary Lee to set up Alex Bashura, make Bashura break offline, get in a little bit too deep, and then just lose the car for the slightest of second. But it was 2 MMR cars making great passes that lap around, because I couldn't hold myself back there. Jeremy Fletcher making a phenomenal move on Tyler Maxon a little bit earlier on in the lap at the exit of turn 3, just swinging down the inside and managing to make the pass stick. He then made almost the same move on Noacre's team, or on the Robert Noacre Racing teammate Robert Noacre, going into turn 5. Jeremy Fletcher is up to P4, but remember, he has a 10-second penalty hanging over his head for being tardy to the drivers meeting earlier on. So right now, Fletcher can make all these passes on the track. He'll still finish down in P9 if they were to stay as they are right now, which we're only, 30 minutes to go in this race. There is no way that that's going to happen.
No, we've already been entertained in the first half of the season. Let's take a look at the For Performance team update, and we're going to highlight a couple of different teams here, with Robert Noacre Racing, Their best driver is Reed Sweeney at the moment in the number 31. He runs second in the Dark Horse category. And a team that we have talked about in the past, from Nathan Sparky, with a couple of his cars running in the Legends category. The number 33 with Alex Batura now running second. If we'd done this about 3 minutes ago, he would have been leading. And Tommy McGlynn for Spark Performance, who's running down in 7th in the Legends class. That's your Ford Performance team update here in the Ford Mustang Challenge at the IMSA Sports Car Weekend here at Road America. Half an hour to go as we head into the next third of the race, the middle third of the race, if you will. And this has not been an easy run for Sam Paley. Wide Country Motorsports supported Tommy McGlynn, Spark Performance, just coming out of the carousel. One of our Ford Performance featured teams this weekend. Oh, and a cloud of dust coming out of the kink, and what I can't see, if there's somebody still in there, there must be, because we've got full course yellow. Shea Adam, I can't see a car in there at the moment. It is so dry offline, but the double yellows are out, and race control tells us it is Mitch Marvosh for Robert Noaker Racing. Oh my goodness me, in the Legends category, and that is a brush, well, more than a brush with the wall. The bonnet, the hood is up, the front suspension is deranged, and with 28.5 minutes to go, we'll neutralise the field. Now, it's never a good place to go off there, but it looks like he's gone off and brushed and run down the wall, Shay, rather than hit it at a more acute angle.
Yeah, his hood is actually up, completely blocking the windshield as well. So maybe something happened and he couldn't see once he'd hit the wall. That could have been a natural reaction for the hood to fly up, just given the way that physics works. But for Mitch Marvosh, that was a big one, and I heard the tire squeal from our effects mic and then wondered which corner it was at. Well, now we know it's from the kink. So Mitch Marvosh will not be able to extricate himself from the driver's side of the car, since that is firmly wedged against the wall. The safety crew with him, the AMR safety team, best in the biz, they are already there. They've got the passenger side door open, and now they just need to figure out the puzzle pieces of how to extricate him through that side of the car.
Yeah, getting across the transmission tunnel of a race car, never easy. He's just taken too much speed in, and it is a slap. It was a slap on the wall, and at that point the steering arms break because of the camber of the front wheels. The bottom edge of the front wheels is sticking out more than the top, and at that point Mitch becomes a passenger. If he's got any sense, he's taken his hands off the wheel, anticipating the initial contact. Then he's probably put his hands back on the wheel to see if he has got any steering. He's out of the car, which is good news.
Wonderful.
And then at that point he's just bouncing down the wall on the driver's side. If you've ever done that in a road car or a race car, and had the wall bouncing down the driver's side, it's pretty off-putting, even at slow speed, and that isn't at slow speed. He's just taking too much speed in the kink, or being maybe slightly on the wrong line. And that car's not actually, I don't think, going to be that badly damaged. It'll be front steering arms, maybe a bit of front suspension. But really, he's, with maybe a bit of T-cut, some of those scratches will polish out. But it's not as if he's gone in, as I say, as an acute angle. He hasn't done any frame damage, I wouldn't think, on that car.
No, and built for its tough used to be the slogan of the company for a reason. The Mustangs, they do hold up, and the angle at which he hit, very flush, as you said. It shouldn't have knocked anything out of proportion. Maybe something in the gearbox that the mechanics will look at after the fact, but they do have a little bit of time to work on these cars before we get ready for the next round of the championship. That's at the end of the month at the Circuit of the Americas, teaming up with the World Endurance Championship. So they will get to run in Texas, end of August. Oh boy, that'll be a warm one for all of our competitors, and they are all excited for that race coming up already. But Mitch Marvosh nonetheless glad to see him out of the car, and glad to see that the car did not shed itself into a million different pieces, which also says that the energy transfer couldn't have been too bad.
Yeah, well, and again, that's a good point. We've had some pretty stout impacts in the first half of the season, and we don't highlight that, but what we do say is everyone's walked away, and I think everyone's been able to open the door and get out. 77 Fahrenheit in the air, very pleasant. On the track, around about 93 at the moment, which is 34 in Celsius for those of you watching around the world. Take an opportunity to do a couple of things here whilst we are waiting to go back to green. First of all, to thank all of our volunteer marshals and our track services teams, and indeed even those people who are helping us park cars and checking that you've got the right credentials to be there. They're all volunteers, they're giving of their time. Thank you to all of you who have voted with your feet and your wallets and your gas money to come here and enjoy this fantastic weekend. And also to tell you about the 2025 season schedule, because there's a few changes. We'll start in the middle of March at the Mobil 1 12 Hours of Sebring in Florida for the Mustang Challenge 2025. Then it's off to the West Coast and WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in the middle of May 9th to the 11th. Take a break from competition, but that doesn't mean no racing, because in the middle of June, the Ford Mustang Challenge and I suspect some invitation cars are off to Le Mans and the Circuit de la Sarthe to be one of the support races to the 2025 Le Mans 24 Hours. Really, really excited to see, and more importantly hear, those cars around the 8.5 miles, these cars around the 8.5 miles of Le Mans. And of course we'll be on site with Radio Le Mans to make sure there's coverage of that as well. Back to the championship on the first weekend of August. If you haven't booked your tickets yet and your days off yet, make sure that you do, because we are coming back here to Road America. And then Virginia International Raceway, August 22-24. This is 2025 we're talking about. The penultimate race will be September the 5th to the 7th at the Circuit of the Americas. And that again will be with the World Endurance Championship. And top secret will be at somewhere I can't even tell you, because I don't even know for the final round yet. Not being announced as yet. But we'll let you know as soon as we find out. Yeah, where would you like it to be, Shea? Come on. You know, if we were going to do an online poll.
Let's have it running down Peninsula Road in Muskoka. We're going to close off the road, and then everybody can just go. The lights are out on the safety car, though, so our drivers are going to get an opportunity to go once again. Now, Race Control just issued a very interesting warning, a blocking penalty, as I say, though, only a warning for Brandon Godovic, who currently sits in the 3rd position in that number 46 for PPM. Now, right behind him is Robert Noacre, and then the next car back, actually, it's not Noacre, is it? It's the 84 has made it back out. Excellent. Glad to see that once again Paolo Salvatore, who yesterday finished on the podium for the Dark Horse category, had that issue, came into the pit lane, did get back out, but now is a lap down and mixed in with the leaders. So that's going to cause a little bit of a block before Jeremy Fletcher can have a go at any of the potential podium positions. Of course, 10-second penalty looming. He is the one who hates to see this safety car more than anyone else.
Yeah, no wave by. I may have been wrong about the left-hand side damage just buffing out on the number 29 car of Mitch Marvosh. It has taken a bit more of a pounding, and it will be new panels required there for that car before we see it next time. It's my little hopeful heart, my boyish enthusiasm, as always. Oh, that one will just polish out. Yeah, we've all done that and hoped. Sam Paley, over to you in the number 26 Southern Paley Motorsport machine. He hits the loud pedal. Oh, lovely driving from Paolo Salvatore, the Torre racing car, actually coming up almost to a halt in the pit lane entry, but not going into the pits to make sure he did not affect anybody else's race negatively or positively. in giving somebody a tour that he shouldn't have. And at the front of the field, a mistake by the second place Reed Sweeney. He looked to go down the outside of the leader, got on the grass with his left-hand side too. Michelinton is still on the grass. Now he comes back in, but he's behind Godovic and behind Jeremy Fletcher and behind Maxon, who goes through. So from second down to fifth place with a tiny mistake. We're talking inches, but that's how tight it is here in Ford Mustang Challenge.
Reed Sweeney, thinking he was driving a Ford Bronco there for a couple of seconds, dropped the left rear wheel going into turn 1 on the grass, and then almost couldn't get the car gathered back up in between the run between 1 and 2. That was a scary moment, as now he's trying to go around the outside of Tyler Maxon, championship leader, and once again into the grass for Reed Sweeney, as there is tons of contact behind. That was the number 18 of Marcos Ventos getting into, I couldn't tell who that was, might have been Max Sapolsky. Reed Sweeney off the course again.
Yeah, this is the Ford Mustang Dark Horse Raptor that we're seeing at the Taste. Just as thought, throwing that one out there to Scott Bartlett and the rest of the team. Jack it up and get it off-road for Reed Sweeney. So coming down to the first corner, he just got onto the grass before the curb. That sends him way wide. I think it actually caught the attention of Brandon Godovic as well. Then he tries to go around the outside of Opalski in the green number 2 car with Gabe Tesh right in there for MDK Motorsports. And we've got more cars on the grass, and that is Jeremy Fletcher in the blue and white car coming out of the kink. He's managed to survive without losing too much real estate. And Sam Paley is the beneficiary here. All of a sudden, he's 6 seconds up the road from what's going on behind him. And Fletcher was absolutely fully lit behind the 46 of Brandon Godovic.
And look at Fletcher now, he's right up to Godovic. He lost no time, even though he took a very non-conformist line through the kink and decided to once again test the validity of the Michelin tires on this car. That was a very different lap than we're used to seeing. Guys, this is not a Ford Performance off-road racing school. Please, the groundskeepers at Road America are very particular, and we like it being green, but that was an exciting single lap. It is still Zach Lee leading the way, but off the restart, not a great one for Alex Bashura, was a great one for Mike Stillwagon, who's got that orange and white and blue chrome livery on his car this weekend. He is now pulling away from Bashura, trying to sneak up to Zach Lee.
So Reed Sweeney, who started the last lap in second place, is now in 9th, and he's still struggling to keep the car on the straight and narrow, or the twisty and narrow, but at least on the racing circuit. So Brandon Godovic and Jeremy Fletcher now dispute the second 2 spots on the podium. And I would think Tyler Maxon and Max Sapolsky will be looking enviously at those 2 positions as well. Then it's Robert Noecker, Gabe Tesh, Marcus Ventos, and side by side again, here comes Reed Sweeney on Marcus Vento, trying to get through, but can't make that one stick on the outside of turn number 6, but at least he stayed on the racing surface this time. There's still 16.5 minutes of this to go. Don't think that we have lost sight of the fact that we are not yet in the last third of the race. As Shay mentioned, Zachary Lee by about 3/4 of a second in 10th position leads the Legends class over Mike Stillwagon. That's the number 48, the silver car from the Skip Barber Racing red, white and black number 19. Alex Bashura in the 33 is third. Those 3 separated by about 1.5 seconds. Bashura in that 33, the olive green coloured car, the sort of military shade on that machine. Sam Paley then able to just look in his mirrors. He had a huge gap a few moments ago when everybody was scrambling around behind him. It's 1.4 seconds now, and he's controlling that as he heads up the hill to complete lap number 10. This is a time certain race.
And we've now found ourselves in an interesting situation, John, because with Tyler Maxson in 4th place, he is our championship leader, but the car immediately ahead of him has a 10-second penalty that he knows about because that was issued well before the race began. And the car ahead of him, i.e. Jeremy Fletcher, is Brandon Godovic, who currently has a warning for blocking. So if Godovic continues to drive in a manner which race control deems overly aggressive in the rear view mirror, all of a sudden Tyler could find himself without doing anything in the 2nd position instead of in 4th, and he is championship leader. He's very aware of the point situation on the day.
Yeah, it's a very good point, Shea, and Godovic will know it as well. Brandon will have been told by Precision Performance Motorsport that he is not on a knife edge, but he is going to have to watch himself. The definition of blocking here in the States, a little different from what you might see in European racing. Certainly, it is applied much more rigorously, I think, here in the States. And I'm not saying it's good, bad or indifferent, by the way, but for our international audience, and there's plenty of people at late afternoon in the UK, 5 o'clock in the UK, 6 o'clock in Europe who are watching this. The simple fact is, and this is what I do like about the American way, you are not allowed to move in response to what the car is doing. So if you want to take the defensive line going down into turn 1 here, that's fine. Pick that line early and stick to it, and that's fine. But if at the last moment you notice that Dave Miggins, who actually isn't racing here this weekend, but if he was, he'd be making great passes. If you notice that one of your competitors has got a little bit of a run on you, you can't then close the door. And that's exactly what's just happened there at Canada Corner for the lead in the Dark Horse Legends class. It's Mike Stillwagon in the red, white and blue car. That was lovely. But Zach couldn't move over on him. It was too late at that point. If he tried to pull across, that would have been seen as blocking. Oh, huge sideways moment for Stillwagon there, as he lit up the back tyres. No traction control, no ABS, and a stick shift, a gear lever with 3 pedals, but somehow he's holding on to that lead. Here comes Zachary to the right-hand side. Mike can't move now. That would be blocking. So Mike needs to try and get a perfect line into turn 1. That's what he's doing. He's given racing room on the inside, but he's gone wide. I wonder if he got dirt on his tyres when he made that move into Canada Corner. He's dropped back into 2nd and he's flashing his lights. It's Zach behind. And that 2 lovely manoeuvres again. That's clean as a whistle there, Shea, in Canada Corner.
Yeah, it was, but the response from Zachary Lee after the loose exit from Mike Stillwagon on turn 14 made the move very early on. And Zach Lee declaring where he was going to be going on the track and saying, hey, if you want to go around the outside, good luck there, buddy. That's exactly what happened. And that's the 2nd time that Zachary Lee, with this very decisive and intentful driving, has made his mark very early on. It was earlier at turn 5 with Pashura. Now it was with Stillwagon, as Reed Sweeney has pulled off to the safety area behind turn 5. He can make it back to the paddock himself. This was looking like a promising day for Reed Sweeney. Very sad to see it end this way instead.
Ran as high as 2nd position, was going for the lead, made a mistake at first, dropped down to the bottom end of the top 10, and now looks like a retirement. We have got a 10-second post-race penalty for Max Opalski in the green number 2 for incident responsibility with, and I'm reading this from race control, with multiple cars. A 10-second race penalty for Max will drop him down quite a significant distance, at least a couple of positions, possibly even more of that. He'll be hoping we stay green to the end of this race. Sam Paley with 11 minutes and 11 seconds to go, leads by 1.3 seconds. He's just controlling that gap back to the battling Brandon Godovic and Jeremy Fletcher. They're scrapping over 2nd, and Godovic goes wide on the final corner. And here comes Tyler Maxson in the orange and black number 74. He might be able to make it through as well. And again, Godovic went to the right-hand side there to try and protect his position, but Maxson had the run. So from 2nd to 4th for that car. Well, very interesting. Brandon Godovic then dropping a couple of positions there, Shea, and that's good news for championship leader Tyler Maxson.
It is, and it's also interesting that the penalty for Max Sapolsky helps Jeremy Fletcher, because Fletcher now up to second. He has the 10 bonus points for the fastest lap of the race as well. That's one less position he would have dropped back, because the gap between Fletcher and Sapolsky is only 3 seconds. So right now, Jeremy Fletcher's second on the road, but 8th in the standings once everything shakes out. That's a big difference for our friend in the MMR machine, who finished second yesterday in the race, but is currently looking at a not great championship day. For Tyler Maxson, it is ideal, because the guy chasing him in points, the one who's closest, 40 points off, is his team owner, Robert Noaker, and Noaker is currently running in 6th. Now, he would inherit up to 4th position with the 2 penalties pending, but that is still a big points gain for Tyler the Tiger.
Now, the good news is that at the end of this race in 9.5 minutes time, Shea and I don't have to apply those time penalties. That'll be done by Alcamel, IMSA's timing partner. You can follow along with all of the timing information that we've got, live timing.alcamel systems. Select the IMSA pages. There's the full timing. You've got the dancing ants that shows the positions of each of the cars on the track, as well as various other bits of information, not just for Mustang Challenge, but for all of the IMSA-sanctioned series. It's exactly what we use in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre throughout our IMSA coverage across the year, and you can log onto it too. It's not behind a paywall, it's absolutely free, and all of that information that we use on our broadcasts available to you if you're sitting at home, or if you're at trackside and you want to burn a little bit of data as well, just to delve deeper into what's going on. Another good exit from the final caller from Tyler Maxson. He did a cracking one last time around. Now, right now, he doesn't have to overtake the blue and white car of the number 22 of Jeremy Fletcher to get that second position, but if he does, maybe he can set sail, because the leader has pulled out an additional second. Fletcher making a bit of a battle of it down the inside and pushes that number 74 car wide, and here's Godovic. He's going to get back. Net second position here. Oh, now that's interesting. How is race control going to see that? We have seen penalties, Shea, given in other series this weekend for people not giving racing room on the exit of turn 1. Jeremy Fletcher will say, I had the inside. Tyler Maxson will say, what was I supposed to do? If I'd held my line, we would have made contact. That is going to be a call for race control to make.
Not a call I envy making, because you can see the point
Indeed.
that both drivers would in theory make. Now, as far as track limits are concerned, yes, Tyler Maxson did violate those, but that was self-adjudicating, because Tyler lost that position, letting us know that he did not gain any advantage in lap time. And now, actually, Fletcher is pulling away from the dueling battle of Godovic and Tyler Maxson. Now, just trying to see which driver would have a better argument at that. I don't know that Fletcher's argument of I left him room, I was in my own spot, isn't valid, because he did leave a lot of room. Tyler couldn't get the car slowed down enough, but Tyler was on the correct line for braking. So, ooh, that's a hard one, as Cal Kearns is into the pit lane. And let's see, crew is going to work checking the tire pressures. This looks very leisurely. Cal Kearns was running down in the 7th position when he came into the pits.
Yeah, just going back to that incident between that battle for on the road second position. I think what they will look at there is how close to the apex, the middle of the corner, Jeremy Fletcher was, and there was room. He could have been slightly further over. I reckon they were both heading towards that corner, slightly on the wrong line. Oh, and we've got somebody now. Is that a little bit of tyre smoke that I
Wesley
just spotted
Slimp
from one of the car? Is that Wes Blimp? Yeah. Wes Slimp in the Precision Performance car, Shea, the 47.
Yes, and he might have some kind of a suspension issue as well, John, because it looks like he's fighting the car. Maybe the left rear tire went down a bit, but Westlam continuing around in the PPM number 47. He has lost some ground, though, and let's see what this lap time winds up being, because it's certainly not going to be troubling his best. And no, he does stay out, so maybe it was just an illusion from all the dust and dirt that's been kicked up at the Kink.
Yes.
Alex Bashura is now looking hungrily at another second place.
He's right in behind Mike Stillwagon. He goes to driver's right on the pit wall side, going down to turn one. Now this is the same as what we saw last time around, and again they've both gone very wide, but they both stay on the racing surface this time. That's really good driving. Bachura actually put about half of his right-hand side Michelin's on the grass there as he came in, but somehow still made the corner. Meantime, Kel Kearns is out of the Leaders Credit Union Ford Mustang Dark Horse. I think there was some suspension issue on that car share.
Yeah, I would agree with that, just from the body language, not only of Cal himself, but the way he was describing it to his crew chief, and then the way his crew chief reacted. It looked as if perhaps not everything is as it should be in the left rear of that number 66 machine, but we will see him back at the next round at Circuit of the Americas. Action on the track is certainly getting exciting, as Alex Bachura did declare early on, a lot like we've seen with Zach Lee, I'm going to go down the inside, but then locks up the brakes. The tail gets a little bit squiggly going through turn one, manages to gather it up and keep going around. But that would have been a very exciting moment, not only for Alex, but also for Mike Stillwater coming around the outside.
Yeah, Stillwater put two wheels onto what is defined as the curb on the exit of turn number one, that lighter grey area with the white paint on it. It doesn't look like traditional curbstones, and it's not like the serrated edges of the yellow and red curbs at other part of the circuit, but that is defined as the curbs. And so long as you have got two Michelins on that, you're on the track. There's a white line at the left edge of that, and then another piece of pavement. If you're all four wheels all the way over onto that final bit of pavement at turn one, you're off the track, and that will attract race control's attention. 3 seconds now at the front of the field. Sam Paley, he's the beneficiary of Jeremy Fletcher and Brandon Godovic battling away. I've got to say, I'm not sure this was, and we've got a slippery surface or rubbish on the track flag actually at the start-finish line. So that could mean some debris on the run down to turn one. I'm not sure Jeremy Fletcher has been well served, Shea, by battling away with Brandon Godovic. If Brandon had got ahead of him and he could have stayed with him and they could have tried to move away, remember Jeremy's got 10 seconds and at the moment that's going to put him behind Robert Noaker down in 6th position.
Yeah, he's gained a couple of positions, which is the good news, because of the gaps that have naturally developed over the course of this race. And with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go, he needs it to stay green, as does Max Opalski, to try and not lose further positions. Opalski would still finish in the 7th position as it is now, with Noaker in 5th and Fletcher in 6th. So that would be interesting. Both of them would be ahead of Gabe Tesch and Marcus Ventos. So they have created their own little gaps, but not enough, as Fletcher could have done if he hadn't been battling with Godovic.
And the Godovic is right there again on the rear three-quarter panel. On the left-hand side of the blue and white number 22, coming into, now through, now out of the carousel, and right there now, Tyler Maxson again must be thinking that he could potentially pick up a position or two here. Those two cars are podium finishers ahead of Tyler the Tiger. I don't think they're going to catch Sam Paley now with just a minute and a half or thereabouts to go. Should see the white flag this time, I think. Down the inside at Canada corner, we haven't seen very many passes there. Huge sideways slide by the number 46 of Brandon Godovic. That actually slowed up Tyler Maxson, because he had to come out of the throttle when he might have been able to take advantage. He'll be frustrated by that. A fantastic piece of car control as the 500 horsepower or thereabouts was being laid down through those rear Michelin tyres out of Canada corner. Yeah, in fact, not only out of the throttle, onto the middle pedal, the brake. There are 3 pedals on this car. Remember, it has a stick shift gearbox. White flag is being waved on the start-finish line, and Sam Paley with 3.5 second lead looks to be cruising to a second win of the weekend. Oh, very wide from Godovic. He's off the track there, and now he moves across to the right-hand side. He's already been warned for blocking, remember. This might just take the attention again of race control, as Tyler Maxson's right there. I think Maxon's got a little bit more grip left in his Michelin tyres. We've seen the rear end of Godovic's car spinning up, and this has given a little bit of a breathing space to Jeremy Fletcher. Half a lap to go, Shea Adam, and the third spot on the podium is still up for grabs.
Well, this is the second spot on the podium because the problem is that with Jeremy Fletcher running in second, he's not actually in second. Brandon Godovic testing out his brakes before going into turn 6, making sure the pads are still seated. And at this stage in the race, the amount of time he's been off the track or been sideways, I'd be doing the same thing too. Tyler Maxon looking for any way through, trying to get up to second place in this race effectively. And Tyler Maxon knows how important the points differential is between second and third. It might be the same, but then first to second, and anything can happen on this last lap. Just because you're in the lead now doesn't mean you'll be in the lead in 2 miles time.
Max Opalski's interested in this as well, but of course he's got 10 seconds on his final finishing time as well. So Robert Noecker in the number 13 car, sitting at the back of that 4-car group coming to the kink right now, is in with a shout of a podium here. This could still happen for Robert Noecker. Fletcher will be demoted. Godovic and Maxon, well, they should take up the podium positions, but Opalski's not there. But if there's any mistake, we could yet see Robert Noecker sneak onto the podium. At the moment, I think he'll be 4th on corrected time. That is to be decided as they come across the line, and the stopwatch and the timing screen will tell us that. We don't need anything other than our eyes to tell us who has dominated this race. It's a delightful double in America's National Park of Speed for Southern Paley Motorsport and Sam Paley. Brandon Godovic scored in second, Tyler Maxon in third. Noecker is at the moment scored in 4th position, waiting for Gabe Tesh to come through to see if he gets close enough. He does not, so Fletcher only drops to 5th and Opalski only to 6th. Gabe Tesh in 7th, Ventos in 8th. Zachary Lee back to the lead of the Legends category, and he doubles up this Wisconsin weekend as well, ahead of Mike Stillwagon and Alex Pachura, who had a great scrap. Christian Bach is in 12th, and Wesley Slimp for Precision Performance in 13th. Well, Shea Adam, what a race. Penalties dropping down, a couple of the major protagonists, but not as far as they would have been worried about unofficially then. Clearly in the 26 from Brandon Godovic and Tyler Maxon, they'll stand on the overall and the Dark Horse podium, with Noecker ahead of Fletcher and Opalski. They were the 2 penalised drivers, remember, for not going to the drivers' meeting for Jeremy and for incident responsibility for Max Opalski. In 9th position is the first of the blue number backgrounds. That's the Dark Horse Legends. And Zachary Lee from Mike Stillwagon and Alex Bashura. And Shea has done some very quick arithmetic to give us the championship standings as we leave Road America.
Very much unofficially, because math is not my strong suit, it is still Tyler leading the championship. So Maxon on 1,970, 60-point advantage over Robert Noecker. So his gap grew exponentially this weekend, 1,910 in third place, after 2 wins on the weekend for Sam Paley. 1860. He is very much within striking distance of this championship, and Jeremy Fletcher, salvaging what could have been a bad day, is now in a firm position of 4th place, with Reed Sweeney having an even worse day. In the Masters category, the Legends class, Zach Lee learned a lot yesterday from hanging out with his MMR crew during the Michelin Pilot Challenge race. He learned the racecraft. He said today all he wanted to do was stick with the leaders. He did just that and a little bit more. 2,060 points for Zach Lee, ahead of Mike Stillwagon in second, 1,750 for Mike. And then Alex Bashura moves up into 3rd place, 1,720 points ahead of Nick Smither on 1,690.
Well, a brilliant weekend in glorious surroundings. The weather played its part as well. Shea Adam was alongside me, John Hindle, in the Ford Performance Global Broadcast Centre. That second race takes us into the second half of the inaugural season for Ford Mustang Challenge. We'll reconvene at the Circuit of the Americas with the World Endurance Championship. Be with us there or join us for our live coverage from Road America. It's bye for now.